most important.
If you want it forward.
Check it, check. Oh, there it is.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. How are we feeling? Probably a little wet and grouchy. Yeah, I understand. So, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being patient. We thought we'd allow just a couple extra minutes for people to get in. As you can see, a lot of our district schools here are under construction, so parking is a little bit of a struggle. So we appreciate your patience on that one, and I think we still may be getting people coming in who are parking across the street. But welcome. This is our first kickoff meeting for the Canyons All-District Marching Band. We're really excited to present all of our information today. We're just going to start with some introductions before we get going. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Caleb Shavasteri. I am the band director at Alta High School. I've been there for the last 6 years, and it's been really great. And then I'll let Michaela introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Michaela Mortensen. I'm the Brighton High School band director, and this is my second year at Brighton High School.
Yeah. So this is an ensemble we've actually been talking about for probably the last 2 years now. Me and Michaela went to the University of Utah together. We played in ensembles together. We've known each other a long time, and we work really well together. We have the same goals, same kind of outlooks on music education. So we're really excited to work together this year. So we kind of first wanted to just start on what this ensemble is going to be. So for those of you who don't know, we have had a district marching band since 2013. Several other district schools have had marching bands in the past, 60s, 70s, 80s. The Alta Marching Band was resurrected in 2013, and we are currently starting our 7th season this coming fall. But every year, even before that, we like to do a parade band. So this is something the Alta Marching Band has been doing for a couple years, and we've invited students from other schools, other district schools to come and participate. It's been primarily Alta, about 90% Alta, 10% other. So what we decided when Michaela got this job here, Ms. Mortensen got the job here, is that we actually wanted to brand this as a full district marching band. It always has been a full district marching band, but it's always had the name Alta. So I really wanted to change that. So we're trying to start this new tradition of every summer having an all-district marching band. Jordan School District does this, various others across the state do it. It's a lot of fun, and we're excited to kind of just loosen up a little bit and have a lot of fun this year. I'm going to talk a little bit later about what the fall marching band looks like. It's a completely separate ensemble, completely optional. It's a little more intensive, but for right now, we're just going to talk about our summer band. So,
Yeah. So just to clarify as well, so when I started here at Brighton High School, I was kind of in shock that there was no high school marching band here. Luckily, we have had one in the district, and Mr. Shavasteri is great to work with. This band is a chance for our students and Mr. Shavasteri and myself and any other of the high school or middle school directors to collaborate. And your students to do the same. And it's just a way for us, again, to have fun, maybe a little bit more relaxed atmosphere during the summer. For the Brighton community, you guys should know, and I've been communicating this with you, that I do have intentions of starting a fall competitive marching band just like the Alta Marching Band. But this is kind of our way of introducing ourselves to that. And we plan to continue this even if that were to happen. And just continue to collaborate. So something we're really looking forward to doing and we feel very passionately about. And just for a little bit of background, my experience in marching band is actually pretty vast. Those of you who are going to go to the drum corps experience stuff, I marched with the corps that hosts that, the Blue Knights, for quite a few years. And then I also worked on staff with a group that went out to Grand Nationals. So it's one of those things I think this community needs, and this was the best way to kind of introduce it to us, and again, get to collaborate and really allow our students to work with others. And again, Mr. Shabs and I are looking forward to working together too. Thanks.
For sure, yeah, you can see we're sporting each other's schools here. I have a Brighton shirt on, and I was just telling somebody, it's really nice just to not have a black or red shirt on. I own a lot of clothing, and about 90% of it is black and red. So this is very nice. But it goes kind of beyond that. We're really excited to just kind of tear down, Alta versus Brighton, or Brighton versus Jordan, all these little rivalries students tend to have, and actually collaborate and really learn from each other and get to experience each other's different teaching techniques, and allow more students and you high schoolers to work with other students. And I really think it's just going to benefit everybody. The more exposure to marching band, the stronger all of our programs are going to be. So we're really excited to present this to you today. So we're going to start with kind of going through the handouts that we have. If you didn't pick up any handouts, we have under the green kind of poster board back there, we have a couple different handouts. Make sure you get all of them. They may not all apply to you, but most of them do. We're going to kind of go through each one of those. And then I'm going to talk about the music later. I think a lot of you had already picked up the music. It's back there under the yellow poster. We have all of our music already picked out. We have all of our music already picked out. It's already copied, so you can leave here today with the music that you're going to be performing this summer and start to practice it. So the first thing we're going to look at is our Google Calendar. Ms. Mortenson's going to take you through that. It is our green paper. That is a hard copy, but we've actually put this together in a Google Calendar, which you can see right here. And now it looks a little weird on here. You see there are duplicate events. That's because I had to add the title.
No.
I think that's because I did the thing earlier. On the copy that you have, we are having to have rehearsals sometimes at Alta, sometimes at Brighton. A lot of that is the collaboration part. We've been talking to you about. We want to make sure we are marching through all the different communities that you students are representing. But Alta, as is Brighton, is going under construction. We are going through a renovation. Brighton is going through a rebuild. So during our renovation, they're actually shutting off our power for 2 full weeks in June and some of July. So we had to get a little creative with where we're going to have rehearsals. So on that green paper, I have listed where each rehearsal is at. So it has the start time and all that stuff, what time they start, what days they're on, and right above that, it will tell you the location of that rehearsal. But if you actually go into our Google Calendar, which Ms. Morton's going to show you, you can actually click on the event, and it will show you exactly where the rehearsal is, all that stuff.
Okay, I'm just going to take a minute and quickly introduce this website. This is a website I use for my students at Brighton High School, but you don't have to be a Brighton student to use it. Mr. Shabasari might choose to add stuff to his own website as well, but until then, you can access everything you need there. So if you just go to brightonbengalmusic.com, or if you search Brighton Music Utah, it'll be the first hit. Or if you just go to the Brighton website, the school's website, you can find it. So, or if you just want to email one of us, we can also send you the link. If you go to classes and ensembles, there's the Summer Mega Marching Band, and that's the page you'll be looking for. There will be a calendar that looked like the one I just had up for you to download. The one that I just had up was my students' version of that, which you saw the events on as well. When it comes to downloading the calendar, the easiest way to do it is, again, it'll look just like this on the marching band page, and you just hit down here in this bottom corner, Add Google Calendar. Now and that's going to go to my Google Calendar, so I'm going to take that off now. Just going to try and add it to my personal calendar. And then you just log into your Google account from whatever device you're on. It's really, really easy to do, and my favorite part about this is you can set it up that it adds notifications to your devices. Parents, it's great for you to help remind your students, but also most of your students are walking around these days with a pretty hefty device in their pockets as well, so they can keep track of it. Of course, you're welcome to use the green calendar that you have in your hands as a way of following along as well. Any questions about that Google Calendar? Well, I can send by some step-by-step how to download the Google Calendar. But again, if you add it to your own Gmail calendar, then it's super, super easy. Your student all should have a Gmail account through Canyon School District with their CSD docs, and they can do it there if you don't happen to have a Gmail account. Let's go ahead and go through the event. So this is actually on April. Let me go ahead and get it up to date. So the first event that we have for this ensemble is happening June 3rd. That's shortly before school gets out. And what we are doing for that is it's just the color guard, or people who are interested in participating in color guard, and drumline students. And the reason why we have those meeting before everyone else is they're a little more specialized, and we kind of have to figure out what you know and where we're going to best put you. Just as a reminder, there is no experience necessary, especially for color guard, but also if you're in your percussion class, but you've never played a marching snare drum, you're fine, it's okay. You can come to this camp on June 3rd. Now, there is school that day, so it'll be in the afternoon here at Brighton. The drumline students will be in the band room, and if you just follow this curve around, everything's a circle here, not for much longer. But everything's a circle, and if you just follow this around, it'll take you to the band room right over here. And we'll make sure we have signs the day of. That's where the drum line will be. And our drumline instructor is not here today, correct? Okay. And then color guard, you're going to be in the small gym. And again, I'll have signs, I'll have students there to help direct you. Again, the circled halls are kind of fun to navigate, but you always end up back where you started if you get lost. Any questions about June 3rd? Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. Let me tell you. So color guard is part of a marching ensemble. It is for students who might not play a musical instrument. Maybe they have experience in dance, or just have a general interest in dance or anything kind of like that. It's a movement-based activity where you throw flags and fake rifles. It's not real ones, I promise. And they help participate in the marching band and add a lot of visual character as well. That's a great question. Thank you. I didn't think that people might not know that. Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah. Charlie, we'll have that conversation later. He asked a great question though. If your student plays an instrument that isn't part of the marching band, let's say, where's Megan at? My oboe is here. We don't march oboes in the marching band, so if you have a student who's not part of that, I'm happy, or Mr. Chavez-Seria is happy to talk to them about where they might best fit. That might be the drum line. That might be, picking up a secondary instrument. We will teach you all that you need to know, so don't stress it. But Charlie, I'm probably going to keep you on clarinet.
I do want to, while we're on the subject of color guard, we have two of our color guard staff members here. Megan and Liz, will you stand up? This is Liz on your left and Megan on your right there. They're two very qualified guard instructors who are going to teach all of you awesome guard people everything you need to know. So even if you don't have any experience. And then I do want to introduce one other staff member we have here. This is Eric, who's going to be teaching music and brass and visual. Standing ovation.
Okay, moving on. So after June 3rd, the next ensemble rehearsal will be the full group. Mr. Chavez-Seria and I, we really talked about what is best going to serve our students, and we decided to have a kind of hyper-focused camp, meaning that we're just going to be meeting for about a week and a half. So if you look down, if you want to look at your green papers, or you can look up here at the screen, there's about a week and a half, 5 days, and then the next week, 3 days. Those rehearsals are from 8 to noon. And again, you can find the location on your green paper or on the website. And basically, these are meant to teach your students what they need to know to be in a parade. So that means that we are going to teach them how to march. We're going to help them get in shape. Believe it or not, marching a parade is actually a pretty physical activity. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So again, 8 to noon for those 8 days, that is our camp. That is where we are teaching your students the bulk of the information they need to know. If there is any point that they need to be there, it's those 8 days. Honestly, Mr. Shabastari and I talked about it. You know, we would love to have your student for every single event. That's the ideal situation, but we would much rather have you at these events than maybe at the parades sometimes, because this is where you learn the most information. We are asking, and this will kind of go along with later, that your student has looked at and memorized the music before they get there. Now, if they are worried about that, don't worry. We have section leaders and ourselves too can help you with that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let's go ahead and go to, well, I guess Sandy Parade is right there. So then, this year, we are marching 3 parades. The first of which will be, the Sandy Parade. They're on July 4th. Yes, we know it's a holiday. We could have done 2 that day, but we decided to limit it to just 1 because we got invited to 2. And it's a really big deal. It's part of Sandy's City Days, correct? And we are really looking forward to marching that. And I know the Alta Marching Band has done that one every year in the past. The next parade, initially my parents, we found out we had gotten the date wrong. So that initial email we sent out, we had it on the 12th and 13th. That rehearsal and parade is now on the 19th and 20th. That's the Draper Days parade. The way we've structured the rest of the season after that initial camp is a rehearsal to refresh everything that we need to know and make sure our students are ready to go, and then the next day is a parade. The reason you didn't see that on the Sandy Parade is that we are actually not allowed even to host any rehearsal in that time. We can perform for some reason, but we cannot host a rehearsal. So it's the school district's week off, technically. So again, for the rest of the parades, you'll see a rehearsal the day before and then a parade. The last parade that we're going to be marching is the Cottonwood Heights Parade, which is called Butlerville Days. That'll be here in the Brighton area. And again, there's a rehearsal at 8 a.m. and then the next day is the parade. And parents, I'm happy to announce, those of you who participated with us last year, they moved it to the Saturday and not the 24th. And it's not going to be in the middle of the hottest part of the day, because that was ridiculous. Like, I was sitting on a trailer and I was too hot. That deserves a clap, I think. So again, that's just kind of an overview of our calendar. Please, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to either Mr. Shabastarian or myself, and we're happy to answer them for you. All right, moving on. Oh, I forgot to mention that, yeah. Thank you, whoever said that. The one thing I did forget to mention, and again, I appreciate it, one amazing opportunity your students have is to attend the Core Encore performance, as well as something that's new for Alta even this year, is same day attending the BKX event. And what that is, that's the Blue Knights Experience Camp. It, actually hosted by the Drum Corps. You get to work with the Blue Knights, and again, I don't know if I have any Drum Corps fans out there, but the Blue Knights staff, who are fabulous human beings, your student will actually get to do that. That day, we will probably have a bus leave here fairly early. We'll give you a specific call time that day, and then they will go up to Ogden. They'll be there all day working on music and probably some visual elements as well. Color Guard will get to work with the Blue Knights Color Guard staff. Drumline will get to work with their percussion staff, and the Winds will get to work with their wind staff. Then in the afternoon, you actually get a chance to perform, and they show that on the screen later at the event. So you get to see yourself perform on a screen at Core Encore, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty rad. Then that night, we will have tickets for you to go watch the event for these professional ensembles. And just kind of a little summary of what Drum Corps is. It's like a professional marching band. These students travel, or these students, I say, these youth, they can participate until they're 21, travel around the country and perform for thousands and thousands of people. It is the most, it is like the NFL of marching bands. It is a really, really cool activity. If you've never been, it's gonna blow your mind. The other thing to note as well, Alta High School is actually hosting another Drum Corps show, actually hosted by our very own Utah Drum Corps, the Battalion, on the 22nd. And we're gonna go over this a little bit later, but parents, we would love some help with that event. So if you're interested in getting to help with that event, we would love to have you. Again, it's just right down the street. We are not getting tickets for that one, correct, Mr. Shabasteri? But it's worth it to go, guys. It's right in our backyard.
Yeah, so to just kind of hop on what she was saying, the Drums Along the Wasatch is on Monday the 22nd. This is the second year that we've actually had this competition. It went really great last year. We used it as a fundraiser. My boosters run all concessions for it. There will be opportunities, if you are interested in doing our Alta Marching Band, which I'll talk about here in a second, for your student to get in for free and fundraise towards their future fees. So it's a really great opportunity there for the Drums Along the Wasatch too. Not required by any means. That's the only date on the calendar that is not really required, but we strongly encourage you to go. Tickets are $15, which is really great. I think it's a better value than going to see a movie. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a new process, and I'm going to try to go through this as quick as I can because it's kind of the boring stuff. Our district is changing the way they do things, and it happens, and we roll with the punches. Sometimes things get more complicated, some things they get less complicated, and I think this is a little bit of both. This is how you are going to register for this band. What you need to do before May 17th, that is the cutoff date, so you must register by May 17th. If you don't register before then, you will unfortunately be unable to participate. This is a program through the Canyon School District website called RevTrack, R-E-V Track and Field. What we have done is we've actually included a QR code on the back of your checklist, and we'll talk about how to scan these here in a second. But this is the link that it will take you to. It's a district website, right here, and it kind of details what the camp is, everything, Ms. Mortensen kind of already went over. If we scroll down, this is all of the data that the district is requiring. Some of it is stuff I've asked for, but it's almost entirely the district. Parent information, email, phone numbers, emergency contacts. The camper information. Campers are all you high schoolers, and I'm gonna use that word a lot. I love calling you guys campers, so I'm gonna use that this year. So you'll put all the info there. The grade you're entering 2019, that means 2019 to 2020. It's kind of confusing there. Your shirt size. We are doing t-shirts. That's included in the cost. So the cost of this camp, because this is technically called a camp, for the Canyons All District Marching Band is $100. It's the same fee that I have charged my Alta Marching Band for the last 6 years. So if you've done this before, that is not changing. You're actually getting more for your money this year because we're actually doing the BKX clinic, which is an extra fee, but we're not charging you more for that. But it will include the t-shirt. That's all listed on the fee breakdown on your all district checklist here. It will include t-shirt, transportation. People don't always understand it actually is really expensive to get school buses. And usually we pay for school buses out of grant money, but during the summer we actually have to front the cost. So we incorporate that into the student fee. Every summer our buses, especially for the Corps Encore, they go to over $1,000. So it does get pricey for sure. So that's part of the cost. The next part is the BKX clinic, which we're just kind of including. They will provide 2 meals that day. More info to come on that. Corps Encore tickets. We purchase the medium grade seats for Corps Encore. There's the dead center seats, which are kind of expensive, then you have the nosebleed seats. It's not really like basketball where the nosebleeds are up high. The nosebleeds are actually on the furthest side by like the 10-yard line. So we actually sit within the 30-yard lines, I believe, from 30 to the 30. So we have a very central view. That is included here in the price. And then the final cost is all of our staff fees and then the district fees. The district actually takes 10%, so $10 per student for building, for custodial fees, for keeping the lights on, essentially. So that's what everything covers. And then further down on the page is the waiver of liability. It also functions as a medical form. So read all the fine print there. The refund policy. If you don't pay, it'll be referred to collection, emergency treatment, equal opportunity, all that stuff. And then it actually requires an electronic signature. from a parent and guardian. So make sure you fill this out. Like I said, this is a new process. We just started doing this spring for some other camps that I run. It's a new process, so we're trying to still work out the kinks. If there is any problems with maybe the link won't open for you, or you get a weird error message, just let me know, let Ms. Mortensen know. They actually have a district person solely in charge of making sure this is up and running at all times, and they really do a great job. Our district supports us so well, and they've done a great job setting all this up. So I really think the digital version of this is a lot easier than what we've done in the past. So that is a new process here. Do I have any questions about the RevTrack? Yeah. Yes. So no, it's only for the core encore. Dave, for parades, students will need to meet a call time at a specified location. So all of our parades are within really the boundaries of our schools, so we usually don't take buses for that. And many parents want to come and watch volunteer. So the call times and the locations are where students are going to need to meet. There will not be buses for any parades.
I'm going to jump in on that really fast. Mr. Shabasari and I were talking, and just because of the change of locations and rehearsals, booster parents, if we are interested in getting a carpool put together, I would love to talk with the Brighton booster parents and the Alta booster parents about maybe having a link or something we can fill out to help our students out, because we understand parents, you still have to work most of the time in the summer, and we want to be able to help our students out when they do have to travel a little farther than maybe they're used to. And we could do the same thing for parades if we need to.
For sure. Michelle, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, just a comment. So I'm sitting here filling this out.
Okay.
One is the contract has a different date than this registration. So the registration says May 17th. The actual contract says May 10th. So
It's the 17th, that's a
for
typo.
both of them? It's
Yeah.
okay. Okay. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make
17. Thank you for that clarification. Yeah. Yeah, this is the great thing about working together. We get to be like, why'd you do that? Or why'd we do that? We're working well together for sure. So thank you for pointing that out. Appreciate it. So that is our RevTrack. Any other questions? So the kind of weird part that some of you may be intimidated by, on the back of this is a whole bunch of QR codes. And when I first started this job, everybody was using these, and I'm like, I don't want to do that, that's weird, I don't understand what these are, they're really confusing to me. And I've come to embrace these, they actually work really well. Now if you have a smartphone that is relatively new within the last 3 years or so, you can actually just open up your camera. You don't even need to take a picture of this and just put it over one of these QR codes. And I tested them all this morning, they work. And sometimes you have to actually take a picture, and actually on some phones you do need to download a QR scanner, which is kind of a pain, but there's like dozens of free ones on the App Store. But generally your camera will get you into this. And the RevTrack registration is just up at the top. We can also email this out. We have the links for this. So
It's
email,
on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website. Email Ms. Mortensen or myself, and we can actually just say, here's the direct link if you don't want to deal with this, because we understand it may be a new process.
However, these QR codes are tuba tested, so if the tubas can do it, I'm pretty confident almost everyone can. Any tuba players in the room? Yeah, there we go, Josh. Yeah.
Nice. And then we're going to go through these next two QR codes. Ms. Mortensen is going to take you through them. We also have a QR code for our absence form and our digital contract. Now, it may be a little redundant to have both a RevTrack registration and a digital contract. But the reasoning behind that is our digital contract is going to get information that is kind of vital for us to know. What instrument do you play? What are your food allergies? Or do you have any things we should know about medically? Because there's just not options for that on RevTrack. So RevTrack is for the district. The digital contract is for us. And all of this information is 100% confidential. We will not share it. We will not do anything like that. And there's also a tab under the digital contract for parent volunteers as well. So, there you go.
Great. So again, the way to access the digital contract, if you're a little uncomfortable with the QR codes, again, I'm just on the Megaband page on the Brighton website, and I scroll down here to Documents, and then I'm going to click on the word Contract. And what this is maybe, oh, there it goes, okay. And thank you for catching the typo there. I don't remember exactly, yeah, right here. It is the 17th is when this is due. So what this does, like Mr. Shabasteri said, is it provides us with a little bit more detailed information. It also allows us to utilize that information in a little bit more effective ways. We're able to put it into spreadsheets and charts and really look at what our demographic is, and it really gives us a lot of info. So when you go into the Mega Band contract, it's going to start out with student and parent information. Please try and make sure that this is as accurate as possible. Usually they'll be about the same as the Rev Track, but some of it might be a little different. So go ahead and scroll down. And again, we're looking for all this data. So what year are you going to be next year? We are allowing super seniors, people who are graduating this year, to participate, especially for those who haven't been able to participate because they didn't know they could. So we wanted to extend the opportunity. So if you're going to be a super senior, meaning you're graduating this year, please make sure that you put super senior so we know who's coming back. What instruments you are, again, some of this is pretty redundant. If you don't know what instrument you are, just put the one that you want to play, and if we need to, we'll talk to you about where you'll best fit. Go ahead and keep scrolling down, Mr. Shabasteri, thank you. The reason we ask for Parent 1 and Parent 2, this information actually directly can help us load things into charms. And I know Mr. Shabasteri has used that in the past. I use it here at Brighton as well. And it's just something that we can create ensembles and communicate a little bit more efficiently in. Student email, the one issue with a lot of our email servers is that we actually can't email from our Outlook or Charms or any other server but CSD Docs. So if your student wants to be communicated with through email, they need to put something that is not the CSD Docs email here. Again, we ask for dietary restrictions or food allergies, what your student's t-shirt size is again. The next page will ask a little bit, and we might need to fake fill that out because it's gonna block you. Band kid, oh, creative. Great. Is a required question you must answer. We also included all of our schools. Again, this helps us with demographic information. Wonderful. That's not a required question, you don't have to fill that one out. Yeah, skip Parent 2. That's wonderful. It might block you if it's not an email, just a heads up. Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Shabasteri. So again, the next page will ask you, will you attend BKX and Core Encore? And again, we really hope that you will because it's an invaluable opportunity. And then parents, we do need help this summer. We need help with the parades. We need help at the rehearsals, feeding your kids. And we are looking for help at the competition that ALTA is hosting for the open class course. Go ahead and fill those out, Mr. Shabasteri. Click yes so they can see what it takes them to. So if you click yes or maybe parents, this is how we're going to contact you to figure out whether you're going to be able to help us or not. So if you're going to be a Brighton student at some point or another, go ahead and click the Brighton Instrumental Music Boosters. If you're going to be an ALTA student, then go ahead and click ALTA. If you don't know, or you're going to be a Jordan student, just click one of them if you are interested in helping, and we'll make sure the right booster parents reach out to you. We're looking for parents who are interested in specific areas. The things we need help with this summer are bringing snacks to rehearsals. We need help. we need help with the events. Again, when we have the drum corps event at ALTA, there's going to be concessions. There's going to be a lot of different things going on. Really what we just need this summer is somebody to be there, somebody to do the things that we won't be able to do while we're teaching. And then are you interested in helping at drums? Yes, you are. And then we'll go ahead and click next. Okay, so this page is one of the most important pages on the contract. So you can see there the Mega Band links, which we haven't added the handbook or the other handouts, but there will be. And it's on the other page. But if you go to that page, you can have all of the links you need for any of the things that we'll be looking at tonight. So if you forget, this is a great way to add it. You can save this page. We want to verify that you have taken a look at some of these things. Some of it, if you're here tonight, we're going to be going over the handbook and the expectations, so you can check that off your box. We're about to go over the absence request, and you can fill that out tonight if you'd like, and then we will know that you've done that. So again, this is just us making sure that you understand the expectations, that you've looked over the materials we're trying to give you and your students, so that way everybody can be successful. Underneath there, there's the agreement, and what that is that's just kind of our general expectations for the summer. Do we want to take a minute to kind of go over those, or do we want to wait? Okay. And then,
if I could just interject
yeah.
one thing I didn't mention on the rev track. So this $100 participation fee waiver does cover this. So if you can just contact me, let me know. And I tell my students and parents all the time, I never want money to be the reason a student cannot participate. It's silly, of course it pays for things and it keeps the lights on, but I always want to work with you. You know, if you can't make the $100 right away, we can work it out. And we actually have a way of getting around that. So we ask that you contact us individually, and we can definitely help you with that.
Great. And then go ahead and scroll down. So at the very bottom here is, again, very similar to the rev track, but this is just our digital signature. For this one, we do ask the students, because parents, we all know that we're trying to train your students to be self-efficient and take responsibility for their actions. And so we ask them to sign that they understand the expectations too, because in the end, they're the ones who, for the most part, have to uphold it. So, and then once you're done, you can just submit, and that goes to us, so we have all the information. The next thing we're going to take a look at, Mr. Shabastary, if you want to go back to the main page, is the tiger. It's the tiger, right there, tiger, yep. And then click on absence request. So what the absence request is, and I know Mr. Shabastary has used this in the past, my students at Brighton High School should also be familiar with this process. This is a request to miss rehearsal or any events that are happening this summer. My students, and you don't do this for your normal school day stuff, right? Okay, so my students, it's really important you understand there are 2 absence request forms. If you fill out the one for Brighton High School and Brighton High School only, it won't get to this one, and we won't know that you're trying to request that. So please make sure you look for the marching band one. It's that QR code that's on your page there. So what this does is this tells us if you need to miss, if you're going on vacation, if you've got a family event already planned, that is what you need to fill out so we can plan for your absence. Because maybe all of the tubas decide to go on vacation at the same time. Well, we're going to have to figure something out, like I'm going to have to hop on tuba or something. So again, fill out the information. It's important to note this is also an absence request. It is not necessarily guaranteed that you're excused from this absence. Now, we're going to try really hard to work with you. Hey.
We love you, corner kids.
So again, tell us what type of rehearsal or performance it is, what's your instrument, what day or days are you missing, and then the reason for your absence. We're asking that your students will go over this on the expectation side, but we're asking that you don't miss rehearsal for things like doctor's appointments, work. We're trying to get you the schedule early enough that you can work those things out. And again, we try to really compact it and make it efficient for you, so that way you can still have as much of your summer to yourself as possible. So again, please make sure you're detailed in what you're missing. When you submit that, it actually will send an email to Mr. Shabastary and myself, and we can either hit accept, decline, or comment. So if you get it, we'll send an email back to you. So this is a new thing. My students, I added this to our absence request yet, but nobody's filled one out in a while. So this is a new feature that I figured out the other day, and it's really, really nice because then you know where you stand almost right away. And I'm pretty good at checking my email. I can't speak for Shab's pretty good at it too. Okay, great. So between the two of us, we'll be able to make sure that you're getting the excusals you need if you need them. But again, ideally, it would be awesome to have you at all rehearsals and performances. Any questions about the absence request? Great, let's move on. Yeah. That's a great question. So let me clarify, because I see some Alta folks' eyebrows going up. We were going to jump into this in a few minutes, but I've actually been working with the administration here at Brighton High School. And everywhere else I've ever been, everywhere else I've ever seen with a marching band, students receive PE credit because it's a very vigorous activity. For some reason, we haven't been receiving it, but that's okay. I've been working with the Brighton administration. Brighton students, for this summer, you are guaranteed to get PE credit, and I'll go over the requirement for that in just a second. Alta students or anybody from other schools, you can also get an elective PE credit, we think. So I'm working on it. I will have more information to come soon. Basically, the way the Brighton principal, Mr. Sherwood here, phrased it is that he brought it to the board, he brought it to the other principals. Everybody's on board with it. They just need to go and make sure it's official so they can make it policy for Canyon School District. Again, Mr. Sherwood is personally taking care of all of our PE credit here. He's going to sign off on every single one of our marching band students, so you have an elective PE credit. We've been working with the other administration at other schools to make that happen, but hopefully it'll just be policy in the near future.
Yeah, so I have been working with Principal McGill over at Alta High School and kind of informing him what Ms. Mortensen has been doing here at Brighton, just getting close to getting a PE credit, and it's a tree I've been barking up for the last 6 years. But I can tell you it is likely. We do need to wait for final approval, so my Alta people, chill. You'll hear from us soon.
Sorry.
I'm based on the conversation I had literally today with Mr. Sherwood. He's very, very optimistic that'll become policy shortly. Did you have a question?
I have a question backing up to the contract. Would it be possible to have parent names added into there?
Oh, there's a spot for it.
There is.
Well, is there?
I just did mine.
Okay, because I thought it just had email and cell phone.
No, it had parent 1 and parent 2. It's flatlined actually just like Charms, so we can copy paste. Yeah, absolutely. And to answer Renee's question, so students at Brighton, in order to get PE credit, you can only miss 1 parade and 1 rehearsal maximum. 1 rehearsal and 1 parade. And those need to be cleared through me, not just through the absence request. It'll be done kind of on a case-by-case basis. Let's say if you're a student who's continually late to rehearsal, we'll be much less likely to give you PE credit. So it's really a citizenship thing. And again, the thing that I get to do is I submit a list to Mr. Sherwood and I say, these students are the ones who receive credit. So do your best to communicate with me. I know some of us, especially in the Brighton community, are new to the marching band world, and so I understand if we already had some things planned for the summer, so just come talk to me if you are concerned about that. Good question, Renee, thank you. No, unfortunately not. I'm sorry. But when your student does become a high schooler, it will. It covers their elective PE credit. So it's not like they get out of the Lifetime Fitness? They don't get out of Lifetime Fitness. I wish. Take that online. It's worth it, I promise. But they get an elective PE credit just like they were too if they were doing some athletics. I found recently, though, that a lot of our athletics don't get PE credit. I think that's crazy. Just to kind of outline, and if Mr. Chavez, you want to make that a little bigger. That is to the right-hand side. Come on, Word docs, let's go. Right down there.
I'm a pages person.
Oh, too big, too big. Oh, too small. I'm bad at this too. So what this is, you can find this again on the website, or there's a link on your contract, and what it does, I've highlighted yes, sir. That's because I'm going to change that. Sorry, it's from an old document that I used to use. So these are the Mega Band expectations, and what we are just wanting to do is make sure that your student understands kind of generally what is expected of them. And this is actually the beginning of the curriculum. So Mr. Chavez, if you want to scroll down, this is actually what I gave to our principal to get PE credit. And what I did is I outlined standards from the physical education core and explained how it applies to marching band. Because again, your students are working very hard. It's a very athletic activity. I'm a nerd, and I went above and beyond and listed every possible movement. And this isn't even for summer band. This is also for fall band. Should I mention that I'm working with you guys? Well, I guess that's no secret now. So Alta students, I'll be working with your marching band a little bit on your visual program as well this summer to kind of help develop that. That's kind of was my baby when I staffed as a marching band member and took the Westlake High School to Grand Nationals. I'm very, very, very proud of the work I was able to do with them. So I'm hoping to kind of revamp some things you're doing there and help you out. So this goes through all of the vocabulary and all the things. You don't really need to know this. Really what I'm interested in showing is further down. So again, this is not something we're going to be handing out to students, but it just outlines exactly what we're going to be doing with your students on a minute-by-minute basis. What we're going to be teaching them, how we're going to be teaching them, what staff members or students are with who. And again, it just helps us as a staff stay organized, but also us make sure that we're teaching you the material you need. For the summer marching band, we will only be working on forward marching techniques, so that way you can march a parade. As the Alta marching band, you guys progress into your fall season, and again, my students, you are invited to participate. I highly encourage it, so we can be stronger in the future. But go ahead and I think that's actually all I have to say about that. So do we want to jump over to the expectations really fast?
Hang on, I have a quick question just
Yeah.
to back up for a second. So, are they going to be able to get an elective credit if they do summer and fall, or is it going to be one elective, like PE credit, if it goes through for our kids?
Well, nothing's final, so I can't really speak to that yet. But
Okay.
we get elective credit for marching band. We always have in the fall, and that's for quarter 1 and quarter 2. Students are actually enrolled at Alta. If any students come from other schools, Brighton, Hillcrest, Corner, Jordan, you will actually dual enroll at Alta. It really doesn't mean anything. It's just so that we can enroll you in the class to get credit on your official transcript. It's actually an easy process. You don't even need to sign anything. But that elective credit is 0.5 elective credit, 0.25 for quarter 1, 0.25 for quarter 2. The PE credit would be on top of that if it does go on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions before we move on? Great. So this is actually the handbook that you'll be able to access online. Again, that was the curriculum, and both outline our expectations. So we made this beautiful cover page, but we can skip that. I forget, are you talking about expectations or am I? Oh, great, well, wonderful. We just wanted to make sure that parents and students, you kind of understood what we expected at rehearsal, just so everybody's on the same page. So we are expecting students that you come to the first rehearsal with most of your music memorized. It doesn't need to be perfect. We're going to help you make it better, but it's going to be a much easier time for you, that week and a half of camp, if you come knowing your music. And Mr. Shabasari and I were talking about this. If you've practiced it consistently and the way we've taught you in our classrooms at home, you will have no problem memorizing this music. We're really excited about the pieces we picked. Do we want to wait to announce that? Okay. Appropriate rehearsal attire. And if you want to scroll down, Mr. no, that's not on this page. We included it on your checklist. A goofy, we called it a derpy picture of Mr. Shabastari and I. We wanted to demonstrate what you should wear at a marching band rehearsal. This is an athletic activity. Your students will be in the sun. They will be working hard. Some of them will be carrying heavy equipment. It is something that you need to be aware of as students and parents, that you must dress in athletic wear prepared for the hot summer weather. So we asked for appropriate attire, which is athletic shoes, and again, you can see on that picture, we highly recommend getting a cross trainer if you can. If you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. I'm a big believer in appropriate shoes for the activity you're doing. I would never wear the shoes I'm actually wearing right now for marching band. But again, athletic shoes, you don't need to go out and get anything fancy, just something that your student will be comfortable standing and moving in a lot. The other things to be aware of, shorts and shirts. And we do adhere to dress code, correct? Okay. I'm just making sure I'm not speaking out of turn. We do adhere to dress code with this event. So again, make sure that your keeping within dress code, try to avoid tank tops and that sort of thing. And again, just make sure it's appropriate rehearsal attire. The more wicking, moisture wicking shirts you can get, that helps your students stay comfortable, but it's not necessary. Cotton's great too. Just remember they will be in the hot sun for a time, and it's something that's, is going to be physically challenging. I tell my students all the time that this activity changed me in so many ways. I loved band, but I feel like marching band is that thing that really made me just go like nuts and love this activity. And part of that was learning how to be athletic, learning how to be physical, learning how to take care of my body. And I'm very passionate about that type of thing. That's why I wrote up that whole big proposal, because it is important for our students. We insist that your students attend rehearsals and practices and any events that are on the calendar, with the exception of the Wasatch, Drums Along the Wasatch. That one is optional, but we'd love to have you there. If you do need to miss, please make sure you fill out that absence request form, ideally by the 17th. If something comes up, and there's a funeral in the family, just fill out the absence request form as soon as you can. Again, ideally at least 2 weeks before, and then just email Mr. Shabasteri and myself if it's after May 17th. Great. Attitude. Remember, students, that you're representing your community in this event. So the way you behave at all times, it doesn't matter if we're in rehearsal or in performance, is going to reflect on the Canyon School District. And we want everybody to think band kids are the best in the world, and color guard, you're part of that. Because you guys really are the best students in the world, so please make sure that you're showing that, and we'll go over that more our first day of rehearsal. Make sure you're coming in ready to learn. It's easy at 8 o'clock in the morning in the summer to kind of come in with grump face, but we are excited to work with you, so try to come with your best attitude. Again, please make sure you're preparing for rehearsal. Parents, help your students get to sleep on time the night before. We all know their summer schedules get really wacky. They like to stay up late. Help them get to bed on time so they can feel good at rehearsal the next day. Make sure they're drinking lots of water, taking care of themselves. If you have any concerns, make sure you communicate with the staff members. And this is something, the last bullet point under attitude is the thing I think is maybe the most important part about music education. Students, you're gonna fail. You are. Yeah, you're not quiet. And that's a good thing. You learn how to overcome that in this activity. So please make sure that you're ready to do that, but then you come back, you analyze what you're doing, and we get better. So again, just make sure you're coming in with that kind of mindset. Again, we can't emphasize enough that you need to be mentally and physically ready for this activity. Rehearsal etiquette. We'll go over this more with the students, but again, if we will be very clear about our expectations when we outline rehearsal etiquette the first few days, but when we're in rehearsal mode, we really need the talking to stay to a minimum. We will have tons of fun. Promise. I've got crazy awesome physical training games planned for you guys. But there are also times where we need you to be quiet, just like we are in band class or color guard rehearsal, okay? Make sure that you're responding to all staff members or section leaders appropriately. These people, these awesome staff members, I don't know where Eric went, but I'm sure he's around somewhere. Oh, hello, you're just blending in. These awesome staff members and section leaders and other people are here to help you, booster parents. We just want to make sure everybody has a great experience. So make sure you're always being respectful and asking appropriate questions. Again, some of this kind of leaks into the expectations for the fall season, but if we're asking you to stop and freeze, please make sure that you follow that, okay? My students know this already. I like eye contact when I'm talking to you. It just helps me know that you're paying attention. It helps me know that you're engaged in the rehearsal. And then again, when a staff member calls out your name, again, my students should know this expectation, but we're going to ask them, do you guys do this on the field outside? So they're familiar with it too. You need to raise your hand. If I say flutes, you raise your hand. Oh, some of you did it. That's awesome. If I say percussion, yeah, see, there we go. Easy enough. That way we know you're listening. Again, it's eye contact. It's addressing the staff. Okay, now this is the really important part. Go ahead and scroll down for me, Mr. Shabasteri. Oh, too far. Right there. Needed materials. So, Again, it's super, super important that you come prepared for these rehearsals and parades. Again, appropriate clothing and athletic shoes. We actually posted on the Facebook pages of both programs some suggestions for athletic shoes. So if you're not sure what to buy, it's a great way to go check out our resource. If not, I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, just athletic shoes of some type and athletic clothing. The uniform, which for this case is your t-shirt. Your t-shirt is a uniform. It's not just swag that you get to wear around whenever you feel like it, okay? We want you to take pride in it. We want you to wear it around your community, but remember, you've got to take care of it. Try not to spill things on it. Try not to lose it. If you lose it, then we're going to have to talk about a consequence for that. So again, please make sure you're treating it as if it were just a fancy marching band uniform, but it'll be a t-shirt for the summer. I don't think we talked about that. We'll let you know. I highly recommend your student has a backpack or some sort of thing to carry their rehearsal materials in. Brass players, you're going to want to have valve oil on hand. Woodwinds, reeds, extra sticks, things like that. I highly recommend just having a backpack. Sunscreen, all these awesome things that you see up here that we're actually giving away. Oh, amazing. Yeah. So again, pencils are a huge, huge must. I know Mr. Shabasari has done sheet protectors with a lanyard for your music. It's a great idea. I recommend everybody adopt that, and we'll kind of go over that the first rehearsal. But again, please make sure you're coming with the appropriate materials. I put on there a half-gallon water bottle. So up here you can actually see, and it's in your picture too. This is a full-gallon water bottle, and the one next to it, the red one, is a half-gallon. This was what Walmart had, so this is what I picked up. But these are both really, really great. I really am not a big proponent of bringing the little, I call them derpy water bottles, because you're going to be running in and out trying to fill that thing up, and you're going to miss information, and really it's not going to be a great situation for you. So I highly recommend, if you can, acquire a jug. It doesn't have to be a fancy Coleman jug. It can also be a milk jug. I've seen students do that too. Great effect. I personally like this one because it also can become a chair when your legs are tired. So again, we'll be giving these away. I put on here blue for Brighton, red for Alta. You don't have to if you like the color red. At least for my students, get the color red. If you like the color blue, get the color blue. Okay. So again, we just kind of put that on there to give you an idea of what that's like. There is a link too on this page to the Coleman jug, this exact one here. You can order it on Amazon for like $8 or something. It's super cheap. Please make sure you bring your instrument to rehearsal. If you are somebody who needs to rent an instrument, so like sousaphones, any marching baritones, marching horns, which are mellophones, percussion, the drumline equipment, or color guard, please come see Mr. Shabasari and myself. We have rental forms for you. And we've decided that if you fill out a rental form for our school, we will let you use that equipment all year unless we otherwise specify. So for percussion, I'm sorry, Alta students, I just bought a brand new drum line. If you use one of my drums this summer, I'm not going to let you keep it throughout the fall. I like it, and it's my favorite. So you'll get to keep it, or you get to use it throughout the summer, and then it comes back to Brighton. And I'm sure Mr. Shabasari is going to loan us some marching baritones and things like that for the Brighton students. Same thing. In the fall season, it's going to go back to Alta. So again, if you need to rent an instrument, just make sure you email Mr. Shabasari or myself, and we'll help you out. Again, binder with sheet music protectors, or just a sheet protector with a lanyard is great as well. And then pencils for marking music. I can tell you right now, if you mark your music, you will remember it better. So have your pencils. We might make changes. We might decide that the trumpets don't get to play the high C because they can't hit it. And we'll have to make those changes. So again, please bring pencils to rehearsal. I feel really long-winded. Did we go over everything? Okay, great. Yes, where? Right there, great.
Just to clarify, are they supposed to wear their uniforms at their rehearsals every day too, or just?
That's a great question. So for our rehearsals, no, you can go ahead and wear whatever athletic clothing you want. When we do the parades, that's when we'll ask for the t-shirts to be worn. And we'll clarify on the shorts situation. We honestly haven't talked about that yet. So we'll clarify and send out an email to all of you parents. One other thing I wanted to mention, hats and sunglasses, we put them on the pictures. Those are a must in rehearsal. You don't want to come back with like the crazy eyes just because you didn't wear sunscreen and crazy, like you don't want to get sunburned. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Sunscreen, hats, sunglasses, we'll allow it all in rehearsal, so please make sure that you are taking care of yourself there.
So, are you guys gonna also discuss if they have to have the same color tennis shoe like last year for parades before we go buy an athletic shoe?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, we don't care on shoes.
okay.
Will we have an interesting article of clothing like our hats last year?
We're going to talk about that.
Yay.
So I just have a couple things to add. I'm going to keep this quick so we can get you guys out of here. We're almost done. So having done this for the last 6 years, seeing what students do, even though we continually tell them, drink water, hydrate, put on sunscreen, wear a hat, don't wear denim jeans. I had a kid show up in a hoodie last year, and it's like 100 degrees. So some of the most common things I see, the most common injury is heat exhaustion, easily. We do a lot of physical stuff. Every once in a while we'll get a sprained ankle or a bad knee or a bad back, but overwhelmingly, at least it's 5 students per day heat exhaustion. And what we are doing is dangerous. We are out in the hot sun. We're trying to go in the morning so we're not in the sun, but it's so vital that students are drinking water and that are wearing sunscreen, that are wearing the proper clothes for this activity. I'm going to keep hitting that home. We are going to remind your kids every single day. If your kid or you students do not show up with a water bottle, we will send you home because that is a very, very dangerous thing. I don't care if you share water, you need your own water bottle. They don't need to be these 2 jugs. What I always tell my students is 32 ounces at least. If you're not drinking 32 ounces in one summer band rehearsal, you're probably not drinking enough. Gatorade is fine, but I tend to say drink that after. The sugar doesn't bode well. So another thing, and this is actually, I don't want to tell you this, but I will. Sorry, I'm old, as I say, there are health problems. This, sunscreen. I have probably a bucket full of sunscreen that's probably 50 tubs in it that just get lost. And it's great because I haven't had to buy sunscreen for like 5 years. But I know, because I actually did buy some a couple of weeks ago, because I went to California, but this stuff is expensive. It's not cheap. So I want to encourage you, parents, do this for your students because they suck at keeping these with their stuff. They'll let their friend use it. Write your last name on the bottle because I guarantee this will get lost. And it's just a thing that drives me nuts. I go clean up 10 bottles of sunscreen every day. So please make sure you're doing that. If I can just quickly go through music. So like I said in the beginning of class, music is back there on the... Nope. This is my teacher brain. Like I said at the beginning of the meeting, music is back there. There are 2 different songs. Each of us kind of chose a song. Miss Mortensen chose Sweet Caroline, which is a great song. We're going to sing, we're going to march, it's going to be fun. I chose I Want It That Way. Is that what it's called? Sorry, I know the tune. By the Backstreet Boys, which is going to be a lot of fun. And if you don't like that music, too bad. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're also doing 2 drumline cadences, which the music is back there. Each of them, our respective drumlines have played. So alto people, you don't necessarily need to pick up the alto one. Bright people won't necessarily need to pick up the bright one. I would encourage you to take it just so you have the music on hand when we're at that June 3rd meeting. So you can pick up the music on your way out. There are different parts, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for trumpets, trombones, things like that. I want to just say, pick the part that looks the best to you, that fits your range. If you want to choose all the parts, great. Percussionists, if you want to take one of each, drum, snare, bass, quad, cymbals, that's great. We don't know what you're going to play yet, but just take the music you want, okay? And we will work that out on June 3rd and or June 17th, which is our first rehearsal. Any questions on music? Okay? We are also going to make that music... Oh, yeah. Question? Yeah.
Are students actually auditioning to be in this, or just anyone
No. The only auditions we're going to have, and I almost don't even want to call them auditions, is going to be for the drum line to figure out who's going to be playing on what drum. Snare drum is the most advanced, bass drum, quads, cymbals down the line. So it's important we put the student that is going to, we want to set them up for success on that instrument, but in terms of wind players, guard members, all drum line, you are in the ensemble as long as you register by May 17th. You're in, but we are going to need to maybe work out parts for like trumpet. We can't have everybody playing first trumpet, we're going to need to balance a section. So there will be small little auditions like that, but in no way will your student be cut from this ensemble other than if they don't show up or if they do something inappropriate or that breaks school policy or district policy.
Can I add one thing to that? Parents, we all also are looking for maybe younger students or other members of your family to carry the banner in parades. It doesn't really require any practice, so those students won't necessarily need to go. They just need to be able to walk the distance. So if you or you have a younger sibling, or maybe a sibling who's not involved in music who wants to do that, we would love to hear about it. So feel free to email us so we can have some banner carriers so we don't have to pull from the ensemble.
For sure. And Ms. Mortensen kind of went over what to bring, question over here?
Just real quick one on the schedule. Do you
Yes.
have an end time for June 3rd?
6 p.m.
Yes, 6. And on the actual Google one, it will show that, just it wouldn't print, and I couldn't put the end times on there. So yeah, we went over instrument rentals. I want to just take 60 seconds to kind of talk about what fall band is. There's a pink paper back there. Now, there are two different parts of marching band. There's parade band, I promise it's going to be fast. And there is competitive field band. You ever been to a halftime show at a football game? Or maybe even seen a DCI show, or maybe even a marching band show? It is a completely different animal. Instead of just marching forward, playing one pop song, and maybe some cadences, we actually learn a full 8-minute routine with choreography, backwards marching, jumping up and down. We do all this crazy dance work. We have amazing props. We have different costumes. We have sound effects. It's a production. I like to say it's a Broadway show on a football field. We do a lot. It's very involved. Our marching band kickoff meeting is on Monday. I want to encourage all of you to come to that. It is only open to freshmen and up next year. So super seniors, sorry, and anybody that is not going to be in 9th grade next year, sorry. It is in your future though. So this is open for freshmen through 12th grade. That will be in the 2019 to 2020 school year. Okay? And what this is it is going to take place in the summer. We are essentially, right when summer band gets done, we start our summer fall band rehearsals, if that makes sense. We're actually going to start that week of Drums Along the Wasatch, start rehearsing for fall. The following week is going to be our band camp. And then we actually go after school, so any student can come. I have had tons of students from Jordan. We've even had Brighton students. We've had Corner Canyon students carpool over to Alpha to do this program. Now, this program is significantly higher, but I am pleased to tell you we have the lowest prices in the state in terms of marching band fees. My fees are $500, and that will cover the entire show, uniforms, countless meals. Our boosters feed the kids great. All of the show music I'm having custom written, our custom drill, and our amazing staff. It's a production. And if you've never been around fall band, I would encourage you to come to this meeting. You're going to find out what our fall show theme is. You're going to hear music from our show theme. You're going to know all of that. I know I have lots of Alta students who are a little eager to figure out what that show theme is, and I've been teasing them for the last couple of months. So you don't need to commit to anything. Come check it out. If you can't make this meeting, shoot me an email. I will send you a big packet with all the info you need. It's a really great opportunity. We're very grateful to have Ms. Mortensen coming on staff with us this year. She is one of the smartest music educators I know, so we're so lucky to have her with us, and hopefully this will grow into something that will be the Brighton Marching Band, and we can continue to grow this awesome activity.
Yeah. All right. So like promised, we have some giveaways before you leave tonight for answering questions. Yay! That's right. I like this girl already. Who can tell me, for the price of a jug, where you can find the contract for Megaband? Right here, this guy. On the back of the paper, what is that thing called? Do you remember? Come grab your jug, good sir, you have earned yourself a jug. For another jug, yes, give the man a round of applause. For another jug, who can tell me what you can do with your Google Calendar to make it go to your device? I saw a young lady in the back who raised her hand. No, okay, that's okay. Jeremy, why don't you tell me? You add it to your Gmail account. Come get your jug, good sir. Okay, this is my personal favorite. It's a cooling device with the magical powers of a unicorn, Pegasus. It is a band essential. Who can tell me when the color guard and drum camp, when is that? Let's see, this young lady here in the black sweater thing. June 3rd, come get your unicorn hat, my dear. Parents, it's so important not only that your student is drinking water, but that they're refilling with electrolytes after rehearsal. I don't recommend this replaces water. This is a great treat for after rehearsal for a Gatorade. Who can tell me what color of shirt Mr. Shabastary is wearing? I'm not gonna pick Josh because he made sound. This young man in the glasses over there. No, that is not the correct answer. Let's go Pikachu.
It's blue.
Blue, congratulations. You get a blue Gatorade. Who can tell me what color of shirt I'm wearing? This little guy right here, third, fourth row, no, right there, yep, you. Red, congratulations. You know our colors. Okay, for this fabulous prize, as Mr. Shabastary said, this is worth millions. Who can tell me what you should wear to rehearsal every day when you come to be outside? Red shirt guy, right there. Yep, that's you, the one who's looking behind you. Yep, there you go. All right, come get your sunscreen. And who can tell me what you should bring to rehearsal so you can remember the changes we might make? The young lady over here. Pencils, come get your wonderful Canyons District Education Association pencils. That is probably the most valuable prize. All right, thank you guys again for coming out. I appreciate the Alta family being so welcoming of including us and trying this new thing. So
If I could just add, we can still have people join, so if you have friends that are not here, have them email us, send them to the website, we can get them registered all the way until May 17th. We'll be up here after if you have any other questions. Thanks so much for coming out, everybody.
What up, Josh? Why? Shout out. That's not how you answer questions. Like half annoyed. Sorry. Back up a little bit.
There's not food, I guess.
No, she left. Why not?
No, we didn't.
No, that's not Eddie's fault.
Oh.
There's an oboe player in this room. Might you want to There is a fellow oboe player.
Hi, Shabs.
That's fun. Where's Shabby? Hi, Shabby. Go on the message. We're still recording. No, it's on this side. Are you sure? Just.
Yeah, I was just worried about rentals. It's just like I would very much need a rental. I would very much.
I'm kind
of fun to ride. You can ask.
Hi.
It burns. There's one burning if you do it well and you do it well. And you can enjoy it.
Want it?
Always yelling stuff at each other while they're doing stuff on the field.
As I've seen on people just randomly yelling stuff.
I'm not that
Usually
smart.
not a fair
I'm not
thing,
that smart to
but-
figure it out. No, I didn't say
You
that.
did.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Oh. Oh gosh. Is that videoing? Oh, that's videoing? Oh no. Oh no, I've been in the video.
Are we having a friend line? This is
No, I have already. No.
Wait, Obo. I did it.
Do what? Just like. We might not. I want to be on my place.
We have to have at least, I would say, 10 or 12.
10 or 12 like people in the guard. Okay. I converted another friend.
So get recruit.
I know we have one
That's
person.
important. All of you should bring at
I
least
got another
one
person.
friend to try out.
That's okay. I can help you. I got
Tryouts.
one for
Tryouts
meetings.
are May 10th and 11th. For fall, not for summer.
Okay.
No, the tuba is actually, it's not your like normal tuba, it has a big thing that goes around your shoulders, it's called a Susan. So just fill out a rental form.
I just want Sasha to come back.
It's, I mean,
She's so
Wait,
small.
I don't know. She's a 6th grader.
She's a seventh grader. Sasha, the little gymnast we have.
The really small
She's
girl.
so flexible.
We had her
He can wait. I'm talking.
I can with the first.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know how. Wait. I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
Stuff you in the back.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I
So
can.
it really has one we could put you in a trunk if you want.
I mean, there
yeah,
were a
that
few
could work.
people that said
I did notice it was like
I literally have no
There's
other
like
home,
2
so
people
like,
that put not.
throughout any of your time here, right, that will take care of it.
there needs to be some 2 steps from hell. Oh yeah. And there needs to be. It is. There are no words. There's no words.
Lifetime
As
figures,
if
there's a lot
movies.
of, I recommend.
Yeah, the really like epic one that we're just gonna like.
Okay, my mom's over there. She's saying goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn's a hard rock.
I couldn't give the best. I mean, I do lake stuff,
But the
so
nice thing is that
we want to die, and it'll be awesome.
because it'll be after we kind of have introduced how to march. And then we get back, there's some new skills for them.
Yeah, that's been like 7 days. Get up with it.
I'm gonna go get.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah. Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
But he's not here. He dropped me off.
Because my kneecap was in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I saw you guys when I was big. When I was
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Throw it back. Look at me.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people are deciding whether they want to be like Brittany doesn't know if she's doing guard or trumpet. Autumn doesn't know if she's doing guard or
I'm just saying, if Tottenham doesn't have food, I'm gonna be really sad.
I'm gonna be really sad.
Because
Pepper
Pepper
would have
has food,
food. We're not
doing
doing
it
it anymore.
That's different.
They had pancakes.
They have pancakes and like sausages.
Bacon and milk.
Our drum instructor will have you play through some basic exercise, simple things.
We always
like
we always have the cool parts, and we never
things like
have
that. And it's just going to have you kind of see what your hands look like. And really, I mean, it's going to be kind of
So you're gonna go to Mellows?
So chances are, people playing a little longer will be on things like snare, center snare, and quads.
She pooped.
She's not dead. The way we say it, he was gone.
Time, but you know, you will get a chance. If you work hard, that'll reflect better on you than any audition, right? And it's really, again, we're gonna see where you best fit. It's kind of what our personnel looks like. Hey, Sister Travis, Sarah? What's your director's name again? Remind me. Yeah, Larry's a good dude. Yeah. It's a good year to find that. All right.
Sports. We don't know.
Sport. Yeah. So, for the drum rental, so whatever drum we end up putting you on, that'll be yours to use for the year. We might make adjustments when we get to our drum line in the fall for pep band. So you're like, I have freshmen who are on your drum.
Is this still recording? Why is this recording?
Oh, it's recording?
Yeah.
Oh, that means my head's in it.
Yeah, my head's in it too, because I was like, what's it doing? And then it's recording. Dude, that means my voice is in it. I want to turn it off.
No.
That's funny.
Kind of the same as the tops.
Yeah.
Just change up.
Whose name?
So you'll rent over the summer and then eventually.
Does it say it on here?
We became friends on Facebook today.
Kayla.
Michaela.
The one that they're not blue, they're black pearl. And they,
Eva hasn't accepted my Facebook.
they're really nice drums.
Oh.
She won't accept it until you graduate, if you're a senior this year, or until like she's completely done. Which she's not yet because we have started.
Well,
we haven't gotten paid.
Oh, there's that too.
He's the one who dropped it.
I ain't got no money. I need some money.
I mean, I just got my tax return and bought myself a birthday present, so whatever.
I don't have any extras.
Control my music from my
I have
wrist now.
two
Don't
jobs
have to
and I still
hold
don't
my
have
phone. Just like, you're gonna do this, and I chuck